You're afraid of getting hurt, so you leave people on read. You keep the conversation light. You don't send the text that says what you actually feel, because what if they don't say it back? You ghost someone before they can ghost you. You act like you don't care about anything because caring is dangerous. You have convinced yourself that this is strength, that this is protecting yourself, that this is smart. But look around. You're safe, sure, completely safe, and completely alone. The walls you built to keep the pain out also keep everything else out. The light, the warmth, the sudden shock of laughter that makes your stomach hurt. The terrifying, beautiful moment when someone says your name in a way that makes you feel like you exist. You wanted peace, and you got silence. And silence, it turns out, is not the same thing at all. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry was actually stranded in the Sahara Desert in 1935. His plane went down, he was facing death, dehydration, the vast, endless nothing. And in the middle of that absolute emptiness, he didn't write a survival manual. He wrote about a little boy who loved a rose. He wrote about a fox who begged to be tamed even though he knew it would wreck him. He looked at the sand stretching out in every direction, hostile and indifferent, and he realized that without love, without connection, the entire world is just that. Sand, endless, meaningless sand. He was dying of thirst, and he found water in the realization that what makes life worth living is not safety or comfort or the absence of pain. It's the people we waste our time on. It's the foxes we allow to tame us. It's the roses we choose to care for even when they're difficult and vain and don't make it easy. The little prince meets a rose, and she is not perfect. She is not some flawless, low-maintenance ideal. She is demanding. She lies about needing a glass globe to protect her from the wind, when really, she just wants the attention. She makes him feel small and confused. She is, by every objective measure, kind of a lot, and the prince runs away. He leaves her. He travels to asteroid after asteroid meeting adults who have optimized their lives down to joyless efficiency. The businessman counting stars he claims to own. The lamplighter following orders that no longer make sense. Everyone so desperately busy, so focused, so isolated in their little planets of one. And slowly, painfully, the prince realizes what he lost. She wasn't special because she was inherently better than any other rose. In a garden, he finds thousands of roses, identical to her, and it breaks something in him. But then he understands. She is special because he chose her, because he watered her, because he listened to her complain, because he wasted his time on her. It is the time you have wasted for your rose that makes your rose so important. Not the time you spent efficiently, not the time you invested with guaranteed returns. The time you wasted, the mornings you spent putting a glass globe over her even though she probably didn't need it. The nights you spent worrying about her. The moments you gave her that you will never get back. That's what made her his. Love is not about finding someone perfect. It's about the act of caring, transforming someone ordinary into someone irreplaceable. You create the value. You build the meaning. Every inside joke, every late-night conversation that went nowhere and everywhere, every time you chose to stay when leaving was easier. You are not looking for someone who completes you. You are looking for someone you are willing to waste your time on, someone you will water, someone you will cover with a glass globe even when it's inconvenient, someone whose flaws you will find endearing instead of disqualifying because you have decided against all logic that they matter. The rose is frustrating and the rose is worth it, and those two things are not in conflict. They are the same thing. And then the prince meets the fox who understands everything. The fox who says, "Please, tame me." And the prince doesn't understand what that means. So the fox explains, "Right now, you are just a little boy like 100,000 other little boys. I don't need you, and I am just a fox like 100,000 other foxes. You don't need me. But if you tame me, we will need each other. You will be unique in all the world to me. I will be unique in all the world to you." The fox is saying, "Hurt me, please. Let's do this thing that will make us vulnerable to each other. Let's create a connection that will give you the power to destroy me." Because here's what the fox knows that you keep trying to forget. Before the prince, wheat fields meant nothing to the fox. Just plants. irrelevant. But after the prince tames him, after the prince leaves, the golden wheat will remind the fox of the prince's golden hair. And the fox will love the sound of the wind in the wheat. The prince will be gone, the fox will be alone again. But the world will be different. The world will be full of beauty that wasn't there before. The wheat will glow, and yes, it will hurt. Yes, the fox will cry, but he wants it anyway. He begs for it. He says, "Tame me, wreck me, paint my world in colors I can't unsee, and then leave, because even the pain is better than the nothing I had before." This is the most defiant thing I have ever read. The fox knows the cost, and he pays it gladly. He is not naive. He is not ignorant. He is not pretending it won't hurt. He is saying the hurt is worth it. The tears are the price of a beautiful life. You think you are being smart by keeping everyone at arm's length. You think you are winning by not catching feelings, by not getting attached, by keeping your options open and your heart closed. But you are not winning. You are just never playing. You are sitting on the sidelines convincing yourself that not losing is the same as winning. But it's not. It's just sitting there. It's just wheat that means nothing. The fox tells the prince a secret right before they part. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. You cannot logic your way into knowing who matters. You cannot build a spreadsheet to determine who is worth the risk. You feel it. You know it in the part of you that you have been trying to silence because it's inconvenient and irrational and dangerous. Your heart knows who your people are. It knows who you want to waste time on. And it is begging you to let it see rightly, to stop pretending that the safe choice is the right choice, to stop acting like a life without tears is a life well lived. A life without tears is a life in black and white. It's wheat that's just wheat. It's stars that are just balls of gas. It's people who are just bodies moving through space, irrelevant and interchangeable. You let someone in and you give them a map to all your soft places, the fears you don't say out loud, the dreams that sound ridiculous in the daylight, the specific way your voice sounds when you're actually happy, not just politely smiling. They learn the difference. And now they can hurt you in ways no one else can because they know where to press. That inside joke that used to make you laugh until you cried? If they leave, it becomes a landmine. That song? Ruined. That specific coffee shop where you used to sit for hours talking about nothing important and everything important. You can't go back there for months, maybe years. They didn't just leave. They took pieces of the world with them. The golden wheat reminds you of their hair, and it hurts. But here's what you keep missing. The fox doesn't regret it. The fox is grateful. The wheat is beautiful now. It glows. Yes, it hurts, but it glows. The world is full of color and meaning and weight because the prince was there. The fox had a friend. The fox mattered to someone. The fox was tamed, and it was worth every single tear. Because the alternative is not pain-free. The alternative is gray. The alternative is wheat that never meant anything, that never will mean anything, because you never let anyone in long enough to paint it gold. Saint-Exupéry, dying of thirst in the sand, writes about a little prince who cries over a rose he left behind. He writes about a fox who loved a boy knowing the boy would leave. He writes about stars that laugh and wells that sing because someone you love is somewhere among them. He is facing death and he writes about love, not the safe kind. Not the kind where you protect yourself and keep one foot out the door. The reckless kind. The kind where you water a difficult rose every single day. The kind where you beg someone to tame you even though you know how it ends. He looked at the emptiness trying to kill him, and he thought about connection, about waste, about the time we give to each other that makes us matter. You are so afraid of being the fox, of loving someone and having them leave, and being left with nothing but golden wheat that makes you cry. But you're not left with nothing. You're left with proof that you lived, that you were brave enough to be seen, that you dropped the armor and let someone all the way in, and they made the world more beautiful than it was before. The tears are not a sign that you made a mistake. The tears are a receipt, proof of purchase. You bought a ticket to a life in color, and this is what it costs. Every single day you make a choice. You can play it safe. You can swipe without feeling anything. You can keep people in the shallow end, You can build a life where no one really knows you, and you never really know anyone, and you never get hurt, because you never give anyone the ammunition to hurt you. You can be efficient with your time, never waste a second on someone who might leave, never put the glass globe over the rose, because what if she doesn't even need it? What if you look stupid? What if you care more than she does? You can do all of that, and you will be fine. Perfectly, numbly fine. And when you are old and you look back, you will see a whole lot of wheat that never meant a thing. Or you can be the fox. You can say, "Tame me." You can send the text that says, "I miss you," without knowing what comes back. You can tell someone they matter and risk them not saying it back. You can waste your time on a rose who is difficult and vain and wholly imperfect. You can let someone learn the specific way you laugh when something actually strikes you as funny. You can build inside jokes and shared silences and memories that only make sense to the two of you. You can give them the power to wreck you. And maybe they will. Maybe they'll leave. Maybe the wheat will make you cry for a long time, but it will be golden. The world will be painted in colors you could never see alone. Saint-Exupéry's plane was found decades later, wreckage in the Mediterranean. He disappeared in 1944 on a reconnaissance mission. But before he vanished, he gave us this. A story about a boy who learns that love is not about perfection or safety or guarantees. It's about the deliberate choice to make someone matter, to tame and be tamed, to look at a fox or a rose or a person and say, "You, I choose you, and I will water you, and I will waste my time on you, and you will become unique in all the world to me. Not because you are objectively the best, but because I am giving you my care, my attention, my time that I will never get back. I am creating your value in my life. I am letting you paint my wheat gold. You think the goal is to get through life without crying over someone, but that is not the goal. That is the coward's goal. The goal is to love so deeply that the tears, when they come, are proof of something beautiful. That you were tamed, that you mattered to someone, that you let someone matter to you. That the wheat fields of your life glow with the memory of people who were there, who saw you, who you wasted time on in the best possible way. The goal is to reach the end and have a world full of golden wheat. To see things that make you smile through tears because they remind you of people you loved. To have inside jokes that no one else gets. To carry around a heart that has been broken and repaired and broken again because you kept using it, kept giving it away, kept letting people in. The little prince returns to his asteroid. He goes back to his rose because he finally understands she is his. Not because she is perfect, but because he chose her. He watered her. He wasted his time on her. And that makes her worth everything. He would rather be on a tiny asteroid with one difficult rose than in a garden of 10,000 perfect ones who mean nothing to him. He would rather have the specific, frustrating, beautiful weight of caring about her than the hollow freedom of caring about no one. So here it is, the secret the fox told the prince. The thing Saint-Exupéry found in the desert while dying of thirst. What is essential is invisible to the eye. You cannot see it on a dating app profile. You cannot measure it in compatibility percentages. You cannot find it by keeping your options open and your heart closed. You can only see it with the heart. And your heart already knows. It knows who you want to text at 2 in the morning. It knows whose laugh makes the whole room feel different. It knows who you would waste time on, who you would water, who you would cover with a glass globe even if they don't need it. Your heart knows who could paint your wheat gold, and it is begging you to let them. Stop playing it safe. Safe is a quiet room with no one in it. Safe is wheat that never glows. Drop the armor. Send the text. Tell them they matter. Waste your time on someone who makes you feel like time isn't real. Let someone tame you. Let them learn your rhythms and your fears and the specific things that make you come alive. Give them the power to hurt you. And then trust that the golden wheat, the glowing world, the proof that you lived and loved and let yourself be seen is worth every single tear. Be the fox. Beg to be tamed. Paint the world in colors. And when it hurts, and it will, let the hurt be proof. You were here. You loved. You let yourself be loved. The wheat is golden. You are alive.